So, you have both weapons and packs to level up. Well, don't worry, I can help you figure out what is the best way to level up your weapons and your packs in this game. Don't mind the lack of hair. That was part of a incentive for a 24-hour stream, so enjoy, I guess. Link to the stream is in the description. There are two major ways to level up your weapons and packs in this game. The first of which are dungeons with an endless room in them, and the second are the faction tales. If you decide to farm XP using the endless room in the dungeons, you should know a few things. I have only ever personally found the endless room in the glade layout / tile set. If you've found the endless room in the standard dungeon type, let me know down below. My preferred entrance to the glade is at Garen's Shrine, located here on the map. Next, you should really do this with a team. You can invite other players into the dungeon by activating recruiting chat in your settings, then making a comment into recruiting chat saying something like H endless dungeon, then clicking on the names of people asking for an invite and clicking invite. Pretty simple. There's a few advantages to doing this in a group though. First, there's XP sharing, so you guys can divide and conquer, clearing the waves of enemies faster. Secondly, by having multiple people, you can return to your Nightfold and swap out weapons and packs without having to worry about the waves ending. Because the waves will end if everyone is dead, in the glade, or outside of the room. Lastly, the enemies will scale over time, so having teammates by your side to take on the level 30 plus enemies will be very helpful because the enemies will go up a level with every wave, starting from 1 and going on into 999, I assume, because the farthest I've gone is 101. Alright, let's get to the numbers. Alrighty, starting off at level 1, you get 925 XP. At level 2, you get 1,101, which is an increase of 176. And then you immediately start seeing diminishing returns for every single level. So at level 3, it's 1,236, an increase of 135. At level 4, 1,350, an increase of 114, and so on and so forth until we get further along. Let's skip ahead. At level 10, it's 1,843. At level 20, it's 2,400, which is an increase of 557 between 10 and 20. And then at level 30, it's 2,827 per kill, an increase of 427. And then for level 40, I was actually in my Nightfold, so I don't have a record for it. So we're going to use level 41, which was 3,319, which is an increase of 492, which is really bizarre. Level 50, which is 3,505, an increase of 186. And then level 60, which is 3,792, which is an increase of 287. So when you get into the higher levels, it does some weird jankiness with its diminishing returns, but overall it is still very small increases in XP for each individual level. So what do we do with this data? Well, it's kind of nice to just know how much you're getting. And then the other thing is it reinforces my idea that it's not really worth going past 60, maybe 65, considering how tanky the enemies get and how little XP you're actually getting an increase on with every level. So even if this is the best XP farm just directly, why don't I recommend it? Well, because you're missing out on other key things. If you do it wrong, you could actually be wasting XP. And let me tell you why. Faction Tales should be your primary focus, not XP. You should only be focusing on XP after you have maxed out your Faction Tales. The reason being is your Faction Tales are going to give you good loot and decent XP, and you're going to have to grind out your Faction Tales anyway. You should only really be using the Endless Dungeon to farm up XP once you've gotten the majority of your Faction Tale XP. There is specific loot that only comes from your Faction Tale, so I would highly recommend grinding out your factions before doing the Endless Dungeon and XP grinding that way. Even if the Endless Dungeon rooms do give you a good amount of Drax, and it gives you a good amount of materials, and it gives you probably the best XP in the game, I still don't recommend it as your first option. You should really only focus on the endless room once you have the majority of the equipment in the game. Now for faction tales. It's a little bit complicated with the XP on how much you get for each one, but luckily, according to the Soulframe Preludes 9 Hotfix 8, it says that it scales based off of enemy level tiers. And then we also, on top of that, I believe since then, have had a bit of a switch where the amount of stars that are above the icon on the map for the faction tale also affects how much XP you get. So it's not 100% clear. Figuring it out isn't as simple as looking at the screen and seeing how much XP you got from killing a guy for an hour. So forgive me for not necessarily investing into looking into this one too much. But the general gist is that you want to be in a zone with as high level enemies as you can take on while also doing a 3-star tail, because the 3-star tails are the longest and give the best XP compared to the 2 stars and the 1 stars. All right, thank you so much for watching. I hope this was informative and helpful. Like I said, do prioritize your factions over the endless dungeon, but if you have nothing else to do, then screw it. Why not, right? I do want to wrap this up by reading some of your comments. Let's see here. Mute Miku, please do make more videos on Soulframe. Well, this one's for you, dude. Epic Mad Lad, bro, you're the man. This game makes me feel like chewing gum in a toothless mouth. Completely lost. Yeah, this game does kind of send people directionless. Great job, very helpful. Keep it up. Thank you very much. I'm glad it was helpful. Video worth it for the first tip. Nice info. What was my first tip, actually? Oh, that was the radar one. Right. Yes. That completely changed how I played this game. It was an absolute game changer. As soon as I saw, I wish I had the clip for it. When I figured it out, it was like a eureka moment. I kind of love this game, even though I know almost nothing about it. This video really helped. Thanks. I'm glad it was helpful. Yeah, again, it is very directionless, and DE kind of seems to do that, but I think they do it on purpose because it gives people a way to make content about the game even when the game isn't out yet. This is a bit of an older comment, but Impolius here. I believe the way you think stats work is a little off. No disrespect or anything. Yeah. But from what I understand from multiple sources, while the stats do affect abilities, they don't each affect one ability. The common discussion is that courage offers strength, spirit offers range, and grace offers duration. Some powers may or may not be affected by some of the stats, so it's not 100%. It's not all 100% out yet, and there might also be bugs. Yeah, that's very true. I did a response video to the video that I'm reading these comments on, and I did mention in there that I made a quick correction, and yes, that is true. The courage is ability strength, like so damage. For those of you that are not familiar with Warframe, spirit offers ability range, and then grace offers ability duration. That is official from the actual official wiki, so that is reliable. That is correct, and I appreciate the respectful correction. Okay, and lastly, Swoot 8. Anyone knows how to get those wolf skills? Yes, so I believe I replied to this comment as well. I replied to a few of these comments that I'm talking about. But for anyone that doesn't know, as you play, you'll stumble across a chained giant white wolf, and then after freeing it, you will later have it randomly pop up during combat. And then you interact with the wolf, and you will receive a quest that unlocks the Orengal Pact, which is essentially the class. A pact is a class. And that is what you use for your wolf skills. I'm not going to go any further into detail. I don't want to spoil anything, but that is essentially how you get the quest to trigger. And I wish I paid more attention to where I found the wolf chained up so I could tell you guys where I found it, but I don't know if the location is random or what for the chained wolf. I don't exactly recall. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'm not entirely sure what I want to do for the next video. I'm thinking about doing a tutorial for either the Crypt or the King. The Crypt came out in, I believe, Preludes 9. and the King came out in Preludes 10. I've yet to do it, so that one may take a while to do. I also haven't done everything from Preludes 9 either, because thanks to you guys, I'm actually a returning player. Seeing all the positivity from the last video has really reignited my interest in this game, so I have to discover my knowledge of the game as well. So that's kind of also partially why it took a while for this video to come out, because I wanted to really make sure that, like, the endless dungeon was still even a thing, for example. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you very much for watching. I have a Discord. My links are, I have a link tree on my about section of my YouTube channel. On there you can find a link to the Discord, and as well you can find a link to my stream, and that is Monday through Friday, 1 a.m. to at least 5 p.m. CST. And I hope to see you next time.